So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roseanne Faust, and on behalf of Arian Hogan, the chair of the Samseda Board of Directors, and our board members who are in person today, as well as with us in spirit, we are so grateful for all of you being here. We can't do an event like this without the tremendous support that we have from the community. Here is our Samseda Board of Directors. I would like all of them present to stand so we can acknowledge. Our board, I know some of you are shy, but please stand up. Bill Graham, Frank Bartaldo, Greg Hurd. It is a busy, busy time, and so our board is small but mighty. Our team is small but mighty. We want to thank all of our elected officials in the room, all of our elected officials from state, federal, local, our special districts, our school board. Could everyone stand up that is an elected official in the room? I will tell you, board of directors of nonprofits, of which Samseda is a 501c4, our elected officials, our business community, our educators, all of you, really, it is the ecosystem of what makes San Mateo County so special. It's not an easy job. Being on the board of a nonprofit, being an elected official in one of our 20 communities, or at the county who is voting on their budget today. Thank you, San Mateo County, for that budget that they either have voted on or are voting on right now. It's been a long day. There is our supervisor, Ray Mueller. Hope it was a good day. I want to thank the representatives of our elected officials, and I would like all of them to stand. Our elected officials can't do what they do without these individuals. Again, just one more reason to be grateful. So our members and partners, nobody does anything in a vacuum. You see the storyboards around the room. It highlights our sponsors from our platinum, our corporate, our business, our community, all of our sponsors today. Could all of our sponsors, either someone who responded to our email, somebody who sees their logo up there, Verizon and Waymo, our signature sponsors, our platinum sponsors, can they all please stand up? All of our sponsors. I wish folks would say thank you more often, because it is about being grateful and appreciative of our sponsors and all of those folks whose logos you see from our communities, from the corporate world, from the development world, from our education community. They're all over our work and our efforts. Our event vendors. So the cookies that I know some folks have been taste testing, please enjoy them with the Samseda logo on. They're meant to be eaten, so take them and eat them. Local San Mateo County, North County Company, Pacific Dining. Thank you to Pacific Dining and the team here at Skyline College. Larissa cannot say enough. My teammate, Larissa, cannot say enough about working with Skyline College, Pacific Dining, the Farallon Room, and the Community College District. So thank you. Scott Bushman, our photographer. So what I'd also like to do is thank our nonprofits and our chambers that are here today. Again, our nonprofits and our chamber members, please stand up. Let's give you a big round. I see Amy with Chamber San Mateo County, Laura Samaritan House, our leadership, South San Francisco, Peninsula Family Service. Kitty Lopez with First Five, you didn't stand up, so now I'm calling you out. So there you have it, our children. Thank you, Kitty, for all you do. So let me talk just a moment about Thread Talks before I bring up our 5 amazing speakers. Thread Talks was started in 2016. Why? Why did Samsita decide to start Thread Talks? And Thread, as you know, is a play on TED Talks. Thread initially stood for transportation, housing, regionalism, the economy, and development, but it has broadened way beyond those 5 topics. Why did we start it? Because we wanted to showcase what a kick-ass county this is. Do you agree with me? And we wanted to bring all of you together to celebrate the depth and breadth of who we are and the awesomeness that surrounds us. And yes, folks, I'm not crazy or blind to the inequities and challenges we face. What I and Samsita are focused on are the opportunities and the hope to actually make a difference and get stuff done. Since 2016, we've seen a lot of positive changes. New businesses, new housing, new educational opportunities, increases in wages, business and labor. Are our labor partners in the room? Anyone from labor, anyone that supports labor? If you all don't stand up to this, I'm surprised. So we want to thank our labor community because business and labor have been able to come together and solve some really difficult things, to solve problems and to develop a new respect for what each brings to our diverse communities and all the folks that live, work, and play here. We survived a global pandemic. We came together to save many small businesses, and we have elected and appointed leaders that speak to the diversity of our communities. Is everything perfect? No, but it is incrementally better. I would say that it is incrementally better, and I ask that you hold on to that. Why? Because I come across folks every day weaving San Mateo County together, all of you in this room, making a difference, and that is what you will hear today from our 5 amazing speakers, their stories, their contributions, and their woven fabric. So without further ado, I would like to bring up our first Thread Talk speaker, Yayu Lin, President, Commercial Development and Advisory, partner with Ceres Regis Group of Northern California.
Good afternoon. Well, I would like to start by saying thank you, Roseanne, for your kind introduction and for your leadership. And thank you to Samsita for all the important work that you do for our community and for the opportunity to share our story today. I'm Yayu Lin. I'm an immigrant. I moved here to the US when I was 13 years old, without my parents and without speaking English. So I'm very humbled to be here to give this presentation today in mostly English. I'm a beneficiary and testament to the opportunities our very diverse, inclusive, supportive community has to offer. I'm very excited to share a bit about Ceres Regis. We are a local developer based in San Mateo, and that's our team in Central Park. We were honored as Developer of the Year by Silicon Valley Business Journal last year. And over the last 31 years, we have developed over 8,500 homes and 21 million square feet of commercial space here in the Bay Area. When I first started in real estate development, I thought we were in the building business. And then I very quickly learned we're in the people business. Yes, we build buildings, but we build them to enable people to do their best work and to live their best lives. Curacao is one of my favorite places, not just because my kids and I love to visit the otter and the rescue animals there, but also because we got to build this new gallery and lab that hosts summer camps and other educational programs. We also got to build the Magical Bridge playground that is welcoming to kids of all ages and all abilities. In Burlingame, we have completed a new office building while preserving the beloved historic post office This new office will add to the vitality of downtown Burlingame, as there will be 2 exciting new restaurants opening soon on the ground floor. And if anyone's looking for an office that is high quality, centrally located in downtown Burlingame, I'm all ears after this presentation. We get to work with the most innovative companies in the world to create best-in-class workplaces right here in Silicon Valley. Last week, NVIDIA became the most valuable company in the world. And like you, I also wish I bought NVIDIA stock 5 years ago. We like to think that we contributed in a small part to NVIDIA's success as we helped to develop their iconic campus, Voyager, and Endeavor in Santa Clara. It was an honor and a pleasure to work with Jensen Huang and their real estate team to listen and to help translate his vision into a spectacular workplace that enhances the creativity and productivity of NVIDIA employees. In Mountain View, we helped Google develop their first major campus, Google Bayview. As the largest LEED Platinum certified project in the world, Bayview rethinks how building integrates with nature, providing healthy and sustainable places for people to do their best work. What makes Bayview special is also the innovative infrastructure systems we implemented, including 60,000 Dragon-scale PV panels on the roof that generate up to 4 megawatts of power, one of the largest geothermal pile systems in North America that helps save 6 million gallons of water a year, and a first-of-its-kind black water treatment system that treats wastewater from the buildings to reuse on site. We also capture every single raindrop that falls on this 42-acre campus for reuse on site. As a result, Bayview is water positive, meaning we can generate more water than we use. Thanks to the vision and investment by Google, Bayview sets a new standard for sustainability, and we hope you inspire others to do the same. These significant campuses were only possible in collaboration and with the support of City Council members and city staff. When we opened the doors to Adobe's new Founders Tower last year, the 18-story tower added capacity for 4,000 more employees to their headquarters campus. Adobe Founders Tower expands Adobe's presence and commitment in San Jose, and we were delighted to celebrate this milestone with Mayor Liccardo, City Council members, and the city staff who made it possible. These highly sustainable and iconic campuses signal strong commitment and continued investment in our area from the largest and most innovative employers now and for years to come. These campuses create jobs, the thousands of construction workers who build them, and the thousands more who work in these buildings to fuel the long-term growth and prosperity of our communities. And it's not just the tech companies who are drawn to our region. We're also working with Northeastern University to update the Mills College campus for its incoming students. To support sustained employment and economic growth, we also need to provide quality housing that meets the need of working families. Not far from Adobe, we opened the Kelsey, which is a 100% affordable development designed to accommodate people with and without disabilities. It's a first of its kind, fully inclusive housing community that helps adults with mixed abilities, developmentally, physically, to live independently and to be integrated with the broader community. And not far from here, we celebrated the opening of Celeste last month. I know Genentech is and has always been a strong supporter of CMCITA, so this one is for you. We're big believers in South San Francisco as one of the most important life sciences hub, and the vision the city had for its downtown. We were the first developer to bring housing to downtown South San Francisco in 2019, and we love South San Francisco so much we developed Celeste. We believe these new apartment homes will help support the economic engines and the vibrancy of downtown South San Francisco for many years to come. Homeownership is one of the biggest challenges for our area, and we believe well-located townhomes are great opportunities for homeownership. We're happy to share that we're almost sold out of our townhomes in Belmont, so run, don't walk to these great homes with walking distance to Caltrans, to the shops and restaurants of Belmont Village and to Twin Pines Park. We developed We developed Village Walk in partnership with Midpen Housing, which added 66 affordable family-style homes to the city of Belmont. Along the Bay Shores in Redwood City, we are in the design process for 56 townhomes. As part of the project, we will make significant improvements to the Bay Trail, including a safe connection to Whipple Road, and create a climate-resilient trail for everyone to enjoy. For us, it's never just about building homes. It's about building communities, like the one at City Line in downtown Sunnyvale. For the last 10 years, we have been transforming the outdated mall into a dynamic destination with contemporary apartments, quality workspace, and 1-acre public park, and our favorite stores like Target, Whole Foods, AMC, Tipsy Pot, and many local small businesses such as a vet clinic for our best friends. A thoughtfully planned, entirely walkable mixed-use community, we believe City Line is the place for everyone to come together to experience and connect. Finally, we believe in giving back where we live and work. The Ceres Regis Community Foundation, which is funded from our employees' donations and a percentage of our profits, has given over $1.3 million. Our giving priorities are focused on providing equal access to education, health and wellness, and essential services, and we're proud to have supported many of the great local organizations. You probably recognize one or more buildings in my presentation today. It is a tremendous privilege to have such tangible impacts on our neighborhoods, and we take that privilege very seriously. Our mission is to enhance communities and create value where we live and work, and we're grateful for your engagement at community meetings, for our project partners who are designers and engineers and contractors, for all the city staff who work tirelessly with us through the entire process, and for council members who expect and demand the very best for their community. We will keep investing, contributing, and developing to make the Bay Area a place for all of us to thrive. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Yayu and all that she and Ceres Regis does for our community. Ceres Regis contributes so much to our communities. Think about how all the different pictures and graphics that Yayu shared, from San Jose to San Francisco, everything in San Mateo County, the number of employees, not only the number of employees of the company, but people like Yayu who live here, whose children go to school here, who think about the architects, the designers, the city teams, everyone that's involved in all the work that they do. So what I'd like to do is bring up our next speaker, Dr. Melissa Moreno, the Chancellor of the San Mateo Community College District.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank Roseanne Faust especially for inviting me to this event. I was so excited to learn that I would be part of a TED Talk. I told all my friends, my family, my colleagues that now I'm permanent chancellor at SMCCD, I was invited to a TED Talk. And Dave McLean, my PIO, said, Melissa, no, this is not a TED Talk, it's a Thread Talk. So just a little warning, if you're here for a TED Talk, you're in the wrong place. Today I was asked to tell my story, but my story is nothing without our students. And so I will be sharing some insight into who I am, who our students are, and talk about why we need to collectively support our students as part of this community. Honestly, most people expect their work or life journey to be a straight line, but very few people actually advance in life and in their careers in a straight line. For example, this is what my career and life journey looks like. I'm calling this my thread. So my first job was an action sports model. When I was young, my father worked hard to perfect his action sports photography and practiced an awful lot with me as his model. Yes, this is me. And to me, this photo is all about survival. I mean, I have one eye closed so the Frisbee doesn't take an eye out, and one eye open to improve my odds of catching that Frisbee, and it's no surprise that I got hit in the face. But isn't this a great action shot? So my first life lesson was catch it before it hits you. My second job was poop scooper. I worked at a small farm and amusement park in my hometown on the East Coast. My job was to open the swan rides, and the dock of the swan rides was home to about 40 geese. And I needed to get the geese off the dock and clean up the mess they left behind. So I swept their poop into the mucky muck pond and had to hose it down to ensure the dock was clean before opening the swan rides. And this taught me to do whatever it takes to get the job done. I didn't graduate high school. Because of my father's job, we moved from the East Coast to San Jose when I was 16 years old. I never felt like I belonged at this high school, and so when I was 17, I took the GED and went straight to community college. Community college transformed my life. It set me on a trajectory of inquiry, curiosity, and motivation to pursue a 4-year degree. My community college experience is why I'm here today, and we transform students' lives every day. My next job was as a server in a restaurant in my college town. It wasn't the Ritz-Carlton, but it's what helped pay my way through a 4-year university, and here I learned that you do your best with what you have. For example, every night, while I was taking orders and serving food, I had to kill the cockroaches before the customer saw them, sometimes even stomping on them on the way to take their order. But I made the best of it, and I learned to provide the best customer service possible. Then I became a business owner, and I actually owned this motel. It was the first time in my life that I supported employees and their families, and I felt the weight of it. My employees relied on my success so I could make payroll and support them. I learned how important it was to take care of your people. And then came the students in my life. During my 20-year stint as a part-time faculty member, I came to understand the concept of equity. Educational equity means that we work so hard as faculty to give each student what they need to be successful, whether it's a different method of presenting materials, providing more tutoring, or engaging with heroes in their field that look like them. And I learned to give students what they needed to succeed. Jobs 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 over the last 17 years has helped me grow into a leader. My first lesson as a leader was how to put people to sleep. Just kidding. But seriously, the greatest lesson of all is when you realize that learning never ends. Every day, we must strive to do better, to be better. And so, my journey has somehow led me here today with a message, and today I'm able to contribute to the journey of our students and support their paths to success. And I would like to share with you some of the threads of our students. We have over 31,000 students in our district. Almost half are first generation, which means they are the first in their families to go to college. 40% of our students are considered low income. The majority of our students are people of color, with 34% Latinx, 30% Asian American or Pacific Islander, and 13% who identify as Black, African American, or multi-race. 65% of our students are under the age of 24. This is the younger generation in our county, and our students are the future of this county. In the last decade in the community college system, things have changed dramatically. We are no longer providers of degrees and certificates, just providers of degrees and certificates. We are now expected to remove every single barrier to education that our students face. And these barriers are big. Tuition. Our Board of Trustees worked with our local elected officials to get legislation passed to allow us to pay for tuition for our county residents. Another big barrier is housing. Many of our students are housing insecure. We are breaking ground on our first student housing project next year at the CSM campus. We will eventually have student housing at all 3 campuses. Thank you. Other big barriers are transportation, technology, and food. We are also called upon to provide mental health supports and must bring the classroom into the communities where transportation fails us. And as you can see, as community college educators, our responsibilities go far beyond education in the classroom. We are, in effect, creating academic villages to holistically support our students. I want to tell you a story about one of our students. I have permission to tell his story. He and his family immigrated from Brazil for a better life. He is a first-generation student. He's considered low income, and his family came here to clean houses. They still clean houses in our community. He did not speak any English at all, and so before he enrolled at Skyline College, he took ESL at our adult ed program at Jefferson High School, and he became fluent in English in 1 year. His visa expired, and he was undocumented. He has since applied for and was granted asylum, and now he works in the Undocumented Student Center, the Dream Center at Skyline College, advocating for undocumented students. He told me once that, quote, lack of information was his enemy in his first year here. Once he learned of all the supports our district had to offer, he took advantage of them. He's a free college student. He shops for free groceries from our Spark Point centers, and he joined the EOPS program. These supports help him to succeed in his studies and focus on his major. He's majoring in paralegal studies as an honors student. He's on track to graduate and transfer to a 4-year university in the Bay Area and to get his bachelor's degree in legal studies, and then he wants to go to law school. And he's currently searching for work in a law firm. But that isn't all. I admire him most for winning the student trustee seat last year, and I spent a year on the dais with him where he bravely served and openly shared his LGBTQ status and advocates for our LGBTQ community on campus. And today, he tells me this community gave him a life in America. Artur Veloso, please stand up and say hello. My thread is connected to Artur's. My thread is connected to all of our students in this district, and now my thread is connected to yours. Every person in this room has their own unique journey, their unique thread, with something very special to offer our community and students. And I see so many of you in the room already connected to our students and providing philanthropic support. Thank you. As chancellor, my job is to help deepen those relationships already in place, or to help you discover that spark that connects you to our students. We need to weave our students more firmly into the fabric of our local economy and support their journey to adulthood. We want to be intentional about engaging our community with our students as we work to build the future of our district. As we explore this concept of an academic village, I envision a village undergirded by basic needs support, free college, and housing that puts students on a pathway to degree attainment and employment in our county. And we can't do it alone. Imagine our collective impact if we all work together to make sure our students have a future in this community, because they belong here. They are the future of San Mateo County. Thank you.
And this, folks, is another example. What Dr. Moreno shared is why we created Thread Talks. And I want to ask all of you with a show of hands, how many of you have taken a class or gone through our community college district, either here or elsewhere? Okay, look, I mean, over 50% of this room. How many of you have hired someone that has gone through community college or is contemplating or had them as an intern? You can raise both hands if you want. When Dr. Moreno and the chancellors come calling, and thank you to our youth chancellor, trustee, I should say, our youth chancellor. Well, I've just promoted you. So there you go. See what Thread Talks is doing? It's creating new jobs. Think about that when a resume crosses your desk and what is possible. So thank you for sharing your threads and your story. Now I'd like to bring up our next Thread Talk speaker, and it is Judy Mosqueda, who is the Chief Development Officer for the San Francisco International Airport, proudly located in the county of San Mateo. Thank you, Judy.
Good afternoon. Well, everyone in this room knows who SFO is. However, you may not know that we are a department of the City and County of San Francisco. Most of you know that, but you may not. And that we strive to be the airport of choice in the Bay Area and the gateway of choice to Asia and to Europe. We are currently recovering from the impacts of COVID-19 and are on a path to meet our pre-pandemic passenger traffic numbers. In 2022, we were named the Wall Street Journal top airport in our size class, and we lost out to Phoenix Sky Harbor in 2023. Darn it. We are an aspirational airport with the vision of inspiring the extraordinary and a mission of delivering an airport experience where people and the planet come first. If you've traveled through SFO, you know that we do things a little differently. We deliver a curated passenger experience. We take bold climate action. We ignite business innovation, and we achieve social impact through our partnerships. We have an $11 billion capital improvement program that keeps us very busy, that strives to meet SFO's long-term forecasts, including reaching 71.1 million annual passengers by the 2030s. Currently, we are at about 57 to 58,000 passengers per year. Oh, 1,000? Million, thank you. Thank you. We need additional gates in order to meet that 71.1 million annual passengers. We are planning to increase resilience by renewing our utility infrastructure that is absolutely aging at this point. And we will continue our bold stance with sustainability. We have two capital improvement programs, one that is for our major projects, our terminal program, and another one that addresses that aging infrastructure that needs to be enhanced to meet current capacity needs. At SFO, our director has challenged us to deliver exceptional projects where delivering on time and on budget is just the basic bar. We strive for more. We look to deliver projects that benefit not only the airport, but also our business partners, the community, and the environment. We define measurable project outcomes at the start of a project to chart and deliver our successes. We use progressive design build, for those of you who are project people, for our larger complex capital improvement projects, because we have found we can deliver better projects quicker using this method, along with using a formalized stakeholder engagement program and formalized partnering sessions. SFO has been utilizing progressive design build for 15 or more years, and we have implemented over $6 billion worth of capital projects without a single construction claim. Who else can say that? In 2011, the airport opened Terminal 2 as the home base for Virgin America may they rest their soul, upon opening, and maybe still, Terminal 2 had the highest per passenger spend rate for a domestic terminal in the United States. We equated that success to the thoughtfulness of the design and attention to the needs and wishes of passengers. What we know is that happy passengers spend more money. And why is that important? Because the passenger spend rate offsets airline costs operating out of SFO. It helps keep us competitive against our Bay Area airports, but more importantly, West Coast airports. We wrote a document which we called the Principles of REACH. This REACH stands for Revenue Enhancement and Customer Hospitality. This document defined the SFO value system that we wanted to provide for our passengers and our point of view that has guided our design work ever since. An example of a passenger amenity aimed at making passengers happy is our outdoor terraces. This one is in the G Gates area and gives international passengers a chance to step outside, get some fresh air. But what it also does is it keeps our passengers for those of you who know our international boarding areas, keeps them at the higher level of the terminal versus the gate rooms where they can spend money with our retail program and our food and beverage program. Harvey Milk Terminal 1, 10 years in the making, had its final phased opening just last week. It is a huge relief to us at the airport. It is the new home to Alaska Airlines for anyone who will be flying on Alaska soon. And Alaska bought out Virgin America in 2016. So it's great that we've built 2 facilities now for the Virgin Alaska team. Let's see. What I am particularly proud of with Harvey Milk Terminal 1 is that we have a very curated passenger experience. It is an art-infused terminal where just about everywhere you look, you are feeling the art as you're traveling to and from your gate. We have recliners. We've installed recliners so that passengers can stretch out if they're waiting for their flights. And as you know, traveling can be a stressful experience, so the ability to stretch out and get comfortable is many times just a relief. We have local retail, including San Francisco, and we have great local foods, including Proper Foods, Amy's Drive-Thru, Starbird, Mama Go's Filipino Cuisine, Bun Me, and others. What a great Northern California experience. And what's up next is Terminal 3 West. This is the home to United Airlines. For those of you who fly United, we have over a $2 billion project to renovate and expand the western portion of Terminal 3. The eastern portion was completed in 2016, and boarding area E was done earlier than that, but we've got more work to do. The same thoughtfulness of what we've poured into Terminal 2 and Terminal 1 will be completed or continued into Terminal 3 as we develop the designs. And what this photograph shows is a temporary corridor that will go up this summer and be opened around Halloween of this year to take passengers around our major construction zone. At the airport, because we are always in a state of construction, we aim to screen the construction as best as possible from our passengers. So you will have corridors to go through, and we've aimed to give a San Francisco experience through them. We've been busy. We've provided an average of 62,000 design and construction working hours per month this past year, and the program is just picking up pace. With that, our current capital program has created over 22,000 jobs. This is just recently with our newest program that was put in place, capital program that was put in place in late 2023. We have many more jobs to come. Thank you for your time.
How many of you learned something new about SFO today? Okay, Judy, if you look around the room, almost every person raised their hand. How many of you flown through SFO in the last year? Okay, that's almost everyone in the room. How many of you plan to fly through SFO? How many of you appreciate the local curation, both from the food and beverage, the museum, the art, and everything that SFO does? Have you started to see a theme? Now, you have to remember, our Thread Talk speakers, we don't have them coordinate with each other. They actually don't even know who's speaking until very late in our whole process. Each of the speakers, in their way, have talked about customer satisfaction. And customers can be defined in a whole variety of ways. So I want you to think about that, because it is that constant theme about customer satisfaction. I'm proud from a Samsita standpoint that in 2025, we are partnering with SFO on their resource fair, the second one that they're going to be holding, to talk about the jobs, the activities, and everything that's happening. So we look forward to that from a Samsita perspective. I'd like to bring up our fourth Thread Talk speaker, Annie Tsai.
Hello. I'm a little shorter than everyone else. It's great to be here. My name is Annie Tsai. First of all, thank you to Samsita. Thank you to Roseanne for the invitation to participate today. It is truly an honor and does not happen very often when I get to share a stage with so many inspiring, incredible, badass women. So thank you. Am I allowed to say badass? I just said it again. Sorry. Well, yes, I do personally have many passion projects, as my husband and my friends like to call them. Perhaps worth explaining a little bit is that for some time now, I have been writing a weekly column for the San Mateo Daily Journal. And it's been an absolutely incredible experience, which at times has been somewhat challenging in narrowing down on the topic in which I'm going to write about, because as the amazing editor-in-chief John Mays initially instructed me to do, he said, "Hey, Annie, you should write about whatever you want to." So when the world is your oyster, I get to do things like, over a 1-month period, write about child online privacy, and then climate change and its impact to home gardeners, and a Senate bill on artificial intelligence, and then last week I got to write about Billy Joel, obviously. So thank you, a heartfelt thank you to anybody who's reading on a weekly basis. Thanks for joining me in my stream of consciousness. I will see you there next week. I do happen to also have a day job, and that is as Chief Operating Officer for a 10-year-old bootstrap software company called Interact. We are a small business, but we build software for small businesses, focusing on lead generation and online quiz making. And that helps small businesses grow and sell more products online faster. So that's my day job. Now, the numbers speak for themselves. Small businesses are the heart of San Mateo County, and they're the heart of our country. And this is the story of one of those small businesses. It's of us almost not making it many times, of the immense pressure that comes with being non-venture backed in this sea of money called Silicon Valley. And it's also a story of how sometimes the hardest days are when the biggest leaps happen. These are our co-founders, Josh and Matt. When they were in their undergrad at UCLA, they started working on Interact and made the decision to not go after venture funding. This is a pretty tough decision as a software company, because what it means is that, on one hand, you get to retain control of your company, and that's a special and really hard thing to do, especially because, on the other hand, all of your competitors practically have early and regular injections of capital. And so the decisions that you have to make about how you're going to grow and invest are going to be not only very different, but the speed at which you can execute is also going to be very different from your competition. I present Article 1, which is a tiny, tiny no-frills office that probably would not pass fire code today. I know there are a lot of developers in this room, so I don't think that's there anymore. Article 2, no marketing budget, means that everyone, including our CEO, is out there making the presentations, talking to potential customers, and everybody is selling. It was pretty exciting. That's not me. It was pretty exciting when companies that we built integrations to actually acknowledged our existence, and they sent us a t-shirt. It was like, wow, we have finally made it now. So this sketch was famously drawn like 10 years ago on the back of a cocktail napkin by Y Combinator's co-founder Paul Graham. And it's kind of a joke, but it's really not. And it's the story of every startup's sort of journey from start to wherever they end up. And it's really helpful to understand sort of where you are in those endless days of long hours and what often feels like daily failure. And by this time in our journey, we were deep in the trough of sorrow, except our trough of sorrow looked like this. And it sort of started out with the classic problems that young companies have when they're trying to figure out everything at the same time with very little cash on hand. And that question was, are we gonna make payroll today? We were selling to bigger customers at that time, companies like Home Depot and Sephora and the like, and those accounts really took a lot of account management, active account management, and it's really hard to do when you only have a few employees and everyone is doing everything. And so whenever we lost an account, there were really big implications to both revenue as well as cash flow. I know a lot of people out here who have been in the early stages of companies probably feel me on the pain there. So then the next question out there became, well, who is our right customer? And this research led us to go down market to smaller businesses. And that's when we got to what we call product market buyer fit, and things sort of started taking off. And we still had larger companies signing up, but all of our processes and systems started getting oriented towards the small business buyer. And it was about this time in 2019 when I joined the company. I was the 5th full-time employee, so we were still very small. We were sort of the tail end of the trough of sorrow, but very much still felt it. We're all still having all of the common everyday software company problems around driving adoption, getting customers to stay our customers, and trying to find more people to buy our stuff. So began the period called the Wiggles of False Hope. This is very real. And that is when, as a company, you overcome one big hurdle, and then very, very quickly after, another one comes, and it just keeps happening over and over again. And finding great talent we could afford was hard because we were bootstrapped. Getting customers to activate was really hard because we were fully automated, focusing on scale. Building out an in-house engineering team. Could you imagine trying to hire engineers that were also interviewing at the Googles and the Facebooks of the world? It was really hard. And we, it was really impacting our growth for a while. And surprisingly for us, as well as with lots of other software companies, as you've heard, the pandemic was actually pretty good for business because so many businesses had to figure out how to generate revenue online. And we welcomed all of them because small businesses needed to find a way to keep their lights on. And a lot of them turned to us. Henry's House of Coffee in San Francisco was able to maintain a $45 AOV by selling their coffee online instead of having people going to their shop in San Francisco. However, I'm not sure if all of you remember, but there was, I don't know, maybe like a day in the summer of 2021 where everyone decided to close their computers and go outside. And it was from that point until probably the end of 2022, where as a company, we had built up all this infrastructure to support growth and scale, and we were really struggling to find those new customers. And it pretty much almost broke us. We were very close to having to shut down. But November 2022 was sort of a zeitgeist moment for us because OpenAI had launched ChatGPT. Here's my AI story. For at least a year before ChatGPT was launched, we had been talking about sort of this magical wizard that would take all of our 10 years of institutional knowledge and have a user drop in whatever they wanted, and we would pump out a quiz for them that was really, really high performing. We didn't have the bandwidth to do that internally right now, but with ChatGPT, we could do that very quickly. So Just like with email marketing or with designing a website, making a quiz is pretty hard. It's intimidating and time consuming. And it's not because the technology is hard to use, it's because small business owners are great at doing the thing they started their business to do, but they don't have the inclination or the time to figure out how to do marketing content to grow their business. And so oftentimes that just gets ignored or it gets handed off for as long as they possibly can think of. And this was our adoption challenge. And we had tried so many strategies for increasing adoption, including building over 1,000 templates just to get people to try and use our product. But the reality was that it was going to be really expensive to do it right. And as a bootstrap company, we didn't have the resources to do it. So began Project Quiz Party. Every great story has a hand-drawn picture. That's my lesson. For 6 months, the team refined a prompting model that would allow anyone to enter a few pieces of information, and we would use our years of institutional knowledge about how people behave when they answer questions and results that people like to generate conversions, and we would make a quiz for them. At first, it was manual. We used that time to really refine the prompting model, and then we would pop a quiz into their account. And then our incredible small but mighty engineering team, this is their band pick, their future band pick. They got to work on building out the product based on everything that we had learned over that 6-month period. We started using Interact AI internally to manually verify what was being created, and we did further refining from that point. And then in June 2023, we put Interact AI out there as a primary call to action and then started pushing traffic there. And the feedback was immediate and consistent. People understood the value of having the best lead generating converter out there on their website, but they didn't have the time or energy to figure out how to do it. And now doing that went from taking 5 weeks to 5 minutes, and people were really happy. So finally, we had a solution that not only addressed our adoption challenge, but it had a real impact to customer cancellations and churn because people were seeing the value in our product so much faster than they ever had before. Today, Interact AI represents 40% of our signups, and we did our full launch release just February 14th of this year. So here we are, 10 years in, a small business ourselves. 1.2 billion people have seen one of our quizzes online. Over 400 million quizzes have been taken on our platform. We've generated 85.7 million leads for our customers, most of which who are small businesses. And we think we have the highest converting lead generating tool in online marketing out there today. And it was a hard road getting there, but like I said earlier, sometimes those hardest days create the biggest leaps. We are still educating. This is sort of our favorite thing to do. It became something that we loved. This was a few months ago at the San Jose Small Business Economic Empowerment Day, where Josh, the CEO, and I were out there talking to small business owners about how to use AI prompts to extract all of that amazing institutional knowledge and expertise out of their brains and turn it into marketing content with a couple of clicks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annie. I didn't want to open my phone in the middle of her talk and start Googling Interact AI because I've already done that in my office. And it just gets me excited about the possibilities. And frankly, Annie, you've changed the trajectory with your company for small businesses and lead generation. And honestly, when we think about 97% of San Mateo County made up of small businesses, how many of you shop and dine and go to small businesses in your community at least once a month? Okay. I was going to ask once a week or daily because this is what it's about, folks. It is about new technology, entrepreneurs who put 10 years in and making a difference. So thank you. Now I am bringing up our fifth and final Thread Talk speaker. I have had the privilege of knowing Christine Zortman since she joined the Port of Redwood City as the executive director. I live in Redwood City. I served in Redwood City. I could not be more proud of Christine and our Port of Redwood City. And so take it away.
Thank you, Roseanne. I also echo what you've heard from all of us today. It's an honor to be here, and it's totally my pleasure. So thank you. You guys, okay, you know that I know that I am your only impediment now to the bar, all right? I have 42 slides we're gonna go through. We're just gonna do a shot on every slide. So it gets you to the bar sooner, how about? Okay, so today we're gonna learn a little bit about the port's role in Thread. There we go. So I usually start by asking how many people in the audience know that there is a port in the peninsula? Awesome, cool. So this is just a picture reflecting some of our vessels that come into the port. So just to give you a perspective about how large our port is, or your port is, each one of these vessels is equivalent to over 3 football fields in length. It is 100 feet wide. Its dead weight, when it doesn't have cargo in it, is anywhere from 65 to 80,000 tons that's floating on the water. They can bring in anywhere from 35 to 40,000 metric tons of cargo into our port. We are 18 nautical miles from the head of San Francisco Bay. A little bit about our port. So our port is one of 11 municipal ports in the state of California. Our board is appointed by the city council. Several of them are here today. We are an intermodal port, truly intermodal port that specializes in both dry and liquid bulk. And what that means is we are not a container port like Oakland. We don't have big cranes like Oakland, or the cranes are on the vessels, and we're offloading and loading dry bulk materials from conveyors at the port. We're on 120 acres. Our infrastructure at the port is very, very high value. If you can imagine 3 football fields pulling into your wharf on a daily basis, you need to make sure that you have strong, high value infrastructure. The other thing about that is that it's very, very cost intensive and requires a lot of maintenance. So we do not get any federal funds. We barely get any state funds, if at all, to maintain our ports. That's typical for all ports in the state of California. We are very entrepreneurial. So even though we could be a taxing entity as a quasi-department of the city of Redwood City, we don't tax. We're always entrepreneurial. We run our business like a business. And we also support the city's general fund. The Port of Redwood City has 3 overarching values, and I'll get into them in a little bit. Maritime commerce is our working waterfront. Those are those big football fields that are pulling in on the side of the dock. Our waterfront and commercial recreation is what we're able to provide to the community and the residents, because the working waterfront is truly an economic engine for the region. And serving Silicon Valley and the broader peninsula region. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So when you think about freight movement on the peninsula, there's a lot of reasons why having a port on the peninsula is important. So remember I mentioned we're 18 nautical miles from the head of San Francisco Bay. It takes 3 hours for the vessel to come down to our port. Our next competitor would be the Port of Stockton. It would take anywhere from 6 to 9 hours for that vessel to get up to the Port of Stockton, and then all those materials would either need to be trucked down to the region or trucked back up to the region. So it's very, very important for the peninsula to have a reach to global markets, and we are that reach. We are conducting international trade and commerce at our port every day. It's also very important to know that the federal government realized the value of this port, and in the late 1880s, they established it as a federal channel, allowing it to be open for commerce and navigation for goods movement. So part of our maritime commerce, a port is all about freight efficiency, cost effectiveness. So as I mentioned, a vessel going up to the Port of Stockton, that would be 2,200 trucks coming back down to the region, and those 2,200 trucks would have to go back up to the Port of Stockton. So you want to keep yourself efficient, you want to keep yourself effective. You want to be able to offer intermodal opportunities, and by intermodal I mean water, rail, and roadways. They need to be easily accessible, and they need to be available to your partners. And you want to continue to be an established economic engine to the region, because ports, even though we are very heavy on the industry side, our value to the community is building advocacy through community benefits that we can deliver back. And our value to the region is making sure that the federal government judges us in a timely manner so that we can be efficient and cost effective. So just to give you a little soundbite, when I said that an average vessel coming into our port can carry anywhere from 35,000 to 45,000 metric tons of cargo, for every foot of depth that we lose in our channel, we lose 5,500 tons of cargo. So when you lose 9 feet, that means you see a lot more barges. That means you have a lot of more intrinsic impacts to the environment, and you're not being cost effective and efficient. We also want to make sure that we're doing things that can weather economic downturns. And that's, again, to be able to continue to give back to the community. So in 2020, our board adopted its first ever strategic vision. And it really looked at creating, diversifying our real estate portfolio as well as our cargo portfolio to weather those economic downturns. It also really looked at how we can be better with our trade partners. And again, when you think about trade partners, you have to realize that everything that touches a piece of cargo or a vessel that's coming in has a price to it. So you've got your beneficial cargo owners, you've got your stevedores, you've got your shippers, you've got your agents, you've got the union, you've got the railroad, you've got security, and the list goes on and on. So you continue to want to make sure that what you're offering is effective and efficient for the broader community. On the commercial rec, again, this is where I said we're able to give back to the community. The 2020 vision looked at creating destination-type uses at our port, and they're in areas which make a lot of sense. So we have a 185-slip municipal marina. That's where we host a lot of our concerts. We host our events, our annual drone show. We also host Port Fest. We have a lot of things going on down there. In our municipal marina, we have our youth sailing entities. We have Peninsula Youth Sailing. Our yacht club has a lot of youth sailings. We have the Sea Scouts. So we really try and make sure that we're building up the youth in the community and also demonstrating to the youth that this is an opportunity for them to think about a new sector that they can put a career in. They don't have to go to college. They can still earn a high-paying job without going to college. And so keeping us effective and efficient and an economic engine continues to be able to offer that to the community. And on the Serving Silicon Valley side, so we are going to have a ferry. It has been years and years in the making. We are now in the CEQA process for that. We anticipate that the ferry could be coming online in conjunction with our partner agency, we understand, in maybe a 26 timeframe. Of course, that assumes we have no legal challenges in our CEQA documents. To kick that off this summer, along with the Water Emergency Transportation Authority, we are going to be hosting several pilot ferry trips from the Port of Redwood City to select Giants games, and that schedule is going to be coming out soon, so you'll be able to find tickets on the WITA website as well as look at the schedule of events that we have going on there. The other thing that's important to us is our environmental stewardship in serving Silicon Valley. So we look at nature-based solutions, obviously, for sea level rise because we are so vulnerable. We're launching a living shoreline pilot program this year that we're hopeful is going to be successful, but then what it's going to allow our board to do is set policy decisions moving forward with that are very nature-based driven. We also believe that beneficial reuse of dredge materials is important. There is a value to the mud when the Corps is out there dredging the mud. So rather than taking it 50 miles offshore, in addition to the 18 miles they got to get up there, let's keep it in the region and let's start to use it for more beneficial resiliency efforts around the region for sea level rise. And we're also home to the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. So we have a lot going on here that really makes us important to the Silicon Valley region. One of our other values, although it's not one of our prime core values, but it should be, is our emergency preparedness. So in 2017, FEMA designated us a federal staging area, and that's because of an investment that we made again into that infrastructure, over $20 million into one of our wharfs with dredging. We don't get any money from FEMA for that. They just give us this honor, and we're required then to make sure that we can facilitate what we need to, should there ever be a catastrophic event. You guys should be very proud of this port, though, because your port is the first port in the entire San Francisco Bay Area that made this kind of investment into its infrastructure, recognizing 3 to 5 feet of sea level rise, as well as recognizing the fact that we live in a very vulnerable earthquake region. So we were the first one out of Oakland, not San Francisco, none of the others, it was us. So you should be proud of that. So then, to wrap this up, before we all go to the bar, I thought about, let's think about how the port really weaves into the whole thread thing. So we've obviously got the transportation element, we've got the regionalism, we've got the resiliency, we've got housing. Our port is feeding the raw construction materials that is building the housing and the infrastructure for this region. We've got emergency preparedness. We have the economic engine. We have job diversity because we have a lot of high-paying jobs out there, skilled labor jobs. And we also have destination as part of D. And so that concludes my presentation today. Just a few more pictures for you all.
So I'm smiling because for me, this is a full circle moment. Any of you in the audience remember Roland Giannini, who used to be our assessor years and years ago? Roland went after me when I first ran for city council. And he said, I want you to shut the port of Redwood City. We can develop out there. I listened, I heard him. I turned around and I went, over my dead body. So, and what Christine brings to the port. And can I have our port commissioners stand up? We have some port commissioners in the room. Thank you to Christine for her leadership, for weaving our talks together, for weaving the port into the dynamic of our community. I want to bring up each of our 5 thread speakers. If I could ask Yayu, Melissa, Judy, Annie, and Christine to stand, please come up like 1 or 2 steps. Perfect. One of them referenced badass women. Let's give it up for our badass women.